Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm stoked for today's episode because I'm going to be showing you guys Janet, my white Bluebird TC2000 schoolie. So I'm going to be taking this thing to Area 51, camping out in the desert with it. So yeah, it is a 2002, but super clean shape. And these schoolies are built like absolute tanks. I've kind of had a thing for schoolies for a while. I've had all kinds of RVs over the years, but never a schoolie. So Janet is my first one. All right, I'll go ahead and give you guys the inside tour. So up front here in the cab area, it's pretty standard for a school bus. The engine is in the front rather than in the rear, right under this thing. The only complaint I have with the engine being right next to the driver's seat is that it does make for kind of a loud ride. And the speakers in here aren't very big, so if I listen to music, it tends to get drowned out by the engine noise. So I may end up putting some bigger speakers in here to kind of counteract that a little bit. Right behind that, we have the kitchen area. Good size sink. It's a lot bigger sink and counter space than other vans and RVs that I've had in the past, so that is nice. As far as cooking, I have an induction cooktop here. Quite a bit of storage in the kitchen area. I haven't filled all this out yet. Down here we have a gray water tank. This one is 25 gallons, and I have a second gray water tank that's 20 gallons behind that wall there for the shower. Miscellaneous storage, hose, cleaning supplies, stuff like that. These are for food storage. I haven't gone shopping on this trip yet, but food storage up there. A lot of storage up top too. I've done quite a bit of painting, but I still have to paint this. I'm either going to paint it green or white. I haven't decided yet. Seating area up front here. And this is kind of my workstation. So this table swivels, and I use that office chair. And when I'm doing edits on the road, it's pretty much usually right from this table here. Behind that is kind of my, you could call it my Area 51 shrine. Got the excellent book by Peter Merlin, Dreamland. And here we have Trevor Paglin's excellent book of classified patches. This thing's getting pretty hard to find these days. It's out of print. I got lucky with this one. I found it at a used bookstore about 3 or 4 years ago. Good old YouTube plaque. Some artwork down here depicting the TR3A. Where these signs came from, I will go ahead and plead the fifth. Little Janet model. These are some shell casings that I found metal detecting out by Area 51. Pretty good sized bathroom in here too. There is a shower, compost toilet, all the essentials. Good sized fridge here as well. And a queen size bed in the back. Feels like it's been quite a while since I've been up to Area 51. I've been spending so much time out at some of these other sites out in the desert. The main purpose of my trip this time is I'm going to be going on Jorg Arnew's podcast. He, of course, runs the website Dreamland Resort. It's one of the longest running Area 51 resources out there. And, of course, he was the subject of that very noteworthy FBI raid a couple of years ago, which has still not resulted in any charges. Very strange. Last time I camped in this valley, it was around the time of the drone crash last year, which is over there in front of me towards Tikaboo Peak. So yeah, as I mentioned, the drone crash site is back there. There's a small hill, and it's just to the south of that small hill. So this is kind of my go-to spot for when I don't want to deal with the harassment from the camo dudes when I camp at Campfire Hill. Couple cars coming out of the front gate there. Some camo dudes finishing their shift for the day, perhaps. And look, it's the real white bus, upon which my imposter is based, you could say. The sun is pretty much all the way set now, so I'm going to go ahead and get some of the night vision equipment ready. I have both the PVS-14 traditional night vision that I screw via an adapter onto the front of my camera lens. And also a thermal night vision camera as well. Scanning the horizon over Area 51's airspace, I noticed some bright lights right over the ridge, likely from aircraft landing at the airstrip. These could be some late evening Janet arrivals or some sort of other military aircraft arriving at the base. The skies were pretty quiet, and I went inside at around midnight to get warm, as the wind was picking up and it was freezing cold at this point. Probably close to 1 a.m., I started to hear the rumble of jets in the distance. Heading back outside, I panned around the sky, trying to see a glimpse of anything worthwhile. The limited detection range of my night vision camera equipment means things generally have to pass very close to me in order to discern what I'm looking at. To the northwest of my position, what appeared to be a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber seems to have flown into the range. I've repositioned myself slightly and managed to get some clips of the B-2 flying overhead. As well as some more distant aerial activity. After a couple of hours of not seeing much more than contrails in the distance, closer to 3 o'clock in the morning, I got another low flyover, but this one looked different. The aircraft that passed overhead this time appeared to be closer to an equilateral triangle shape with a flatter trailing edge. Immediately, my mind goes back to a pair of photos captured in 2014, appearing to show an as yet unacknowledged triangle-shaped aircraft. One in Wichita, Kansas, taken by photographer Jeff Templin, and another in Amarillo, Texas, taken by photographer Steve Douglas. I'd also been made aware of more recent witness accounts of Dorito-shaped aircraft spotted in remote areas of Southern California, particularly Death Valley. Given the limited resolution, we can't definitively rule out a B-2 or other more conventional blended-wing aircraft pitched at an odd angle to potentially result in the appearance of a flat trailing edge, as has been discussed in relation to the Amarillo, Texas sighting, with some asserting that those photos simply show B-2s. So are we looking at a classified test flight or a run-of-the-mill training sortie? The next day would reveal some additional data that added more layers to the mystery. The next day, I met up with Jorg, webmaster of the long-running Dreamland Resort website and forum, for our scheduled live stream later that day. We talked about meeting up out in the desert to do some exploring, and I mentioned that there was one remote entrance to Area 51 that I had never been to, so we decided to make a quick trip out there. This gate, known as the Rock Springs Road Gate, leads directly from a private ranch into the restricted zone, and this is very difficult to access without trespassing on the ranch's property. Luckily, there are some remote back trails that can get us there, provided they aren't too washed out. I've touched on this ranch previously, as I find its location extremely interesting given that their free-range cattle can sometimes cross into the Area 51 boundary, and that they have to obtain permission via radio from the base to retrieve them. We wind our way up the network of trails near Bald Mountain, a site within the restricted zone that contains radar and surveillance equipment that is monitoring our every move, in addition to the ground sensors that are likely tracking our vehicle's movements. Upon reaching the gate, we're greeted by a camo dude, but it was one of the more unusual camo dude encounters that I've had. Oh, he's got his lights on.
He got his lights on, right? He wants to make sure we see him.
Clearly, they're not too thrilled to see us, as they've activated emergency lights in an apparent attempt to warn us off.
Yeah, I think we might as well stop right here. We could push it to the signs, but they seem to be quite agitated already.
Yeah. We got out and explored the area on foot for a while, under the watchful eye of the camo dudes and the forward-looking infrared camera, positioned on the pole behind their truck. The orange post there in front of the sign designates the border, so the sign is actually set back just inside the perimeter. As you can see here on my app, the yellow that I'm in is public land. After documenting the area, we turned to head back to Rachel, discussing the unusual aircraft activity that took place in the night and the odd Dorito aircraft that I saw. It turned out Jorg's equipment had captured some interesting data from that night that added some more context, or perhaps more questions, to the mystery. It turned out that the B-2 Spirit had flown in from Whiteman Air Force Base, and Jorg's scanner that he uses to monitor the base's radio traffic had captured some very unusual audio. A separate source recorded that there were aircraft with Sabre call signs in the air during the B-2's mission, a call sign typically used for Groom Lake assets. The nature of the radio traffic recorded during the B-2's flight was very unusual, containing strings of code words referencing beer and food items, weirdly enough. The sort of traffic was different than anything Jorg had heard previously in his decades of monitoring the airwaves, and given that only the comms with the B-2 could be heard, we speculated that the other Groom Lake aircraft could be communicating on encrypted channels.
Checking in. Angels 369 for system 380. Start point, we'll hold there. So one more count check. Barely readable, if you could just try this one more time and then change the transmitter. Bigger. Still on parrot for aerial. Parrot. Aerial copies pretzel snack start time 0816 at start point. And Ariel is expecting that next run will be bush. Confirm run, preparing profile bush. Ariel. Conditions bush. Ariel, just confirm that next profile will be Corona. Pretzel, snacks, 0 with cheese. Or Corona. On conditions of profile Corona. Seconds. 7-1, 5 seconds. 7-1, pretzel, stick in the green. And we'll continue your racetrack hold, Ariel. We'll just to confirm, we can expect Michelob with garlic next. Don't extend here in the racetrack. Let us know when you're about ready. And preparing profile Michelob. Ariel, chins profile Michelob. Confirm Imperial with garlic next. Ariel, just stand by real quick. We have to fridge shut for a moment, and we might spin here. We'll let you know. Receiving indications of a fridge warm from last. We are fridge, hydrate, and turning back in. 7-1 on conditions. Imperial with garlic. 60 seconds. 5 seconds. Good check. Copy end run, pretzel warm. And we'll go start run next when we get there for Imperial with garlic. Yeah, ramp from 7-1. We have a fridge warm again. So we're going to cut less of a corner here and then just confirm this next run. Imperial is with garlic, So 370. Please stand by. 60 seconds. Firm fridge is hydrating in 2 Mike. Sorry. Imperial 7-1 on conditions. 7-1, 30 seconds. Stick. 7-1 into the hold. The profile chocolate, no pretzel. Fridge is hydrate and standby 1. Fridge stocked 1 mic. Should have no issue with hydrate. Hydrate turning in to start chocolate.
Well, that was certainly intriguing, and it's tough to make heads or tails of the code being used and how it may relate to the mystery Dorito aircraft. One theory floated could be that there was an asset from Area 51 having its radar cross-section measured and compared to that of the B-2. There were some references to hydrating or the fridge is hydrating, which could mean something was refueling. Either the Groom Lake assets, the B-2 maybe, although that seemed kind of unlikely given you'd think that the radio traffic would have indicated that the B-2's call sign was the one that was tanked. Or maybe the tanker itself was a test subject, something like a more triangular iteration of the NGAS concept here, or something like the Lockheed Martin unmanned tanker design that was unveiled a few years ago. Or maybe the Dorito itself was an aerial platform for tracking stealth aircraft, who knows. As I said, it's hard to say conclusively what we're looking at, but in relation to all the other recent Dorito sightings I've heard around Death Valley and the ones going back to 2014, I certainly think we have something interesting here. It begs the question of what advantages a triangular airframe could provide, or what the use would be for such a design. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. If you've seen a mysterious triangle aircraft, feel free to share your story down below. Thanks for watching. Uncanny Expeditions, signing off.